On embarkation day, the last thing that any cruiser wants to do is be stuck waiting around for hours in the cruise terminal before boarding. In this video, I'll tell you how to board your cruise ship faster, beat the chaos, and start your vacation while everyone else is still figuring out where to drop their bags. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, if you've cruised before, you know that embarkation day is a little bit of controlled chaos. And if it is your first cruise, well, you have been warned. It can get a little bit hectic at the cruise terminal. And honestly, what you want to do is not only get on board faster, but you want to get on board with as little hassle as possible so that the first day of your cruise is stress-free. Now, even if you've cruised a couple of years ago, the cruise boarding process has changed over the last year or so. So this video includes the up-to-date tips that you need to know. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number one, download your cruise line app before you get to the cruise terminal. Now, do not make my recent mistake and think, well, I already have the cruise line app downloaded to my phone, because what happens is cruise lines often update their apps. So make sure that you have downloaded the most recent app to your phone. You're going to want to do this ideally at home before you go on your cruise, but otherwise at the very latest at your hotel. Something that I found is once we were in the cruise terminal, the Wi-Fi is always a little bit wonky right in that area. And even once we got on board the ship, truthfully, my Wi-Fi still wasn't working, and it did really make the first couple of hours of my cruise more stressful than I would have liked. Now, you're going to need your cruise line app, and it is going to be helpful to have it ready to go when you get to the cruise terminal. You are going to have your boarding pass most of the time right on your cruise app. So this is going to be very helpful. By the way, little tip, make sure you screenshot your boarding pass in case that Wi-Fi is wonky. At least you have it, and yes, they can still scan or look at that boarding pass, so it is going to be helpful. But once you get on board, you're going to have a safety briefing and an e-muster station to check into, and all of this information can be found right on the app. You'll even find the schedule of activities for the day, as well as the restaurants that are open. Number two, be ready for security. Now, this one is often overlooked because I think people don't think about the fact that when you're getting on a cruise ship, there are some similarities to getting onto a plane in that you have to go through security. And depending on the port, there are some places that it's going to be a little bit more, well, let's just say serious than others. So in particular, if you're getting onto an Alaskan cruise and you're going through Vancouver or Seattle, you can expect the security to be much more similar to an airport, where you'll have to take off your belt, you may have to take your computer out of your bag, your jacket off, etc. So the fastest way to go through security is to be ready. Now, no matter what cruise terminal you are at, whether it's Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or Bayonne, New Jersey, you do still want to be prepared when you get into that line, because otherwise it really can delay boarding, not only for you, but for other people behind you as well. So be ready to put your carry-on bags, your purses, and even your phone and other electronics through the X-ray machine. Now, what about liquids, you may be wondering? Well, the rules when it comes to liquids are different when you're boarding a cruise ship than an airplane. So there is no 3-1-1 rule. You could bring full-size liquids, but there are some things to keep in mind. If you are allowed to bring wine on board, many cruise lines will allow you to bring 1 bottle per person. Do keep that in your carry-on bag, but also make sure that it's at the top and it's accessible, because it is possible that that will be checked. Now, another thing to keep accessible are also magnet hooks and any other items that security may want to check, and this includes medical devices like CPAPs as well. Now, one thing when it comes to liquids that is similar to flying is most cruise lines will not allow you to bring water bottles on board the cruise, not because of the liquids, but because it is possible that some people might be trying to sneak something in that they shouldn't. So don't even try to bring that through security with you. Drink that or even leave it behind before you get to the terminal. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's go back in time and talk about assigned boarding times. Now, there has been a change over the last couple of years where all cruise lines used to have assigned boarding times. That is no longer the case, and some of them are more strict than others. But one thing that does remain is for many cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, like Carnival, like Norwegian Cruise Line, and like Celebrity, they will have you choose your preferred boarding time at the time usually that you do your check-in for your cruise. Now you're going to do your check-in online, and my suggestion if you do want to board early is to choose the earliest possible embarkation time. Now how do you do this? Well, firstly, you do your online check-in as soon as possible, and this way, once you've done your online check-in, you can also choose your boarding time. Now there are a couple of cruise lines that will only open that up as it gets closer to your cruise. Royal Caribbean is about 30 days before your cruise, and Carnival is about 15 days before your cruise. But I do have a tip. Set your alarm to midnight, because in this way you can snag the earliest possible boarding times. Now, what is the earliest possible boarding times? For a lot of cruise lines, this is going to be around the range of 10 o'clock, sometimes 10:30. Now, it doesn't mean you'll actually board at that time, but you will be part of the earliest groups. Now, if you're sailing with Princess, they no longer have assigned boarding times, but they do usually open up boarding as early as 10 to 10:30 a.m. But keep in mind that you do have to do your online check-in, and ideally you want to be able to be in what is called the green lane. And by the way, if you are sailing with Princess, there is a chance that they are going to mail you your medallion to your home, and that is going to facilitate a quicker check-in as well. Now, each cruise line is different, so you are going to want to check into your own boarding process. But also something that I did want to mention is while you don't want to go much earlier to your assigned boarding time, there is a little bit of leeway. And my understanding from actual cruisers is these days there is a little bit less checking. But beware, if you show up an hour or two before your boarding time, there is a chance that you actually have to wait outside in the heat or the rain or any of the elements. So do try to stay within about a half an hour of your time. Now, by the way, if you're getting ready for a cruise and you want to make sure that you're organized and you don't forget a thing, I do have the LifeWell Cruised Ultimate Cruise Planner. Now, the LifeWell Cruised Ultimate Cruise Planner is a 47-page downloadable printable cruise planner that you could use to stay organized with cruise packing lists, cruise embarkation day planning forms, and more. I'll leave all of the information about the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner linked down below in the description of this video in case you want to check it out. Number 4, have all of your documents ready. Now, I keep all of my passports and documents in this family travel wallet, and basically I can keep cash in here, I can keep boarding documents, I can keep, my passports, my ID, all of that. And this way I even kind of just keep this little wristlet on my hand. It can go right into my carry-on bag as well, but this is always on me. So you want to make sure that your passport, your ID is accessible to you. And it is a good idea as well, even if you have the app, not only to do your screenshots, but if possible to print out those boarding documents as well. In the case of certain cruise lines like Carnival, they still request you to do so. Number 5, choose your pre-cruise hotel wisely. Now, unless you're heading in to the cruise terminal area, maybe a few days before because you really want to explore the city. Otherwise, I do suggest that you choose a practical hotel located within about 10 to 15 minutes or less from the cruise terminal. Now, in some cases, some cities are very busy, very trafficy. Miami, for example. And of course, there are others as well, like New York. So you do want to factor that in even when you're considering your transportation. Now, at certain hotels that are close to the terminal, it is also going to be easier to get transportation. Now, in some cases, some hotels are going to include transfers to the cruise terminal. In other cases, even if it's not included, it's only going to be a few dollars for an Uber. Now, also a little tip for embarkation day, take a look at what the traffic is expected to be. Now, in some cases, there are sometimes marathons that are happening near the cruise terminal. We've actually seen this before, or other festivals. So even if it's supposed to take only 15 minutes to get to the terminal, leave yourself about an hour to account for traffic just in case. Upgrade your cruise cabin. Now, you might be wondering, what can upgrading my cruise cabin actually do for me? Well, in some cases, upgrading your cruise cabin can come with an extra perk of priority embarkation. Now, this is a case many times for suites, but even if you don't book a suite at the outset, you might consider bidding for an upgrade to a suite, because if you do get it, it might be a little bit more than you paid originally for your cabin. And not only do you get that better cruise experience, that better cabin, but you also get all of those extra perks, including priority embarkation. Go for a paid extra. Now, what kind of paid extra or add-on am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about early embarkation programs. Now, some cruise lines have these. For instance, Royal Caribbean's The Key, Carnival's Faster to the Fun, and Norwegian Cruise Line's Priority Access. Now, we tried Royal Caribbean's The Key, and while I don't know if it would have been worth it at full price, at the discounted rate we paid, the fact that we had priority embarkation, a special lunch, Royal Caribbean actually held our carry-on bags for us and delivered them to our cabins, and we also had Wi-Fi for our cruise. In our opinion, it was probably worth it. Please let me know if you've ever tried any of these early embarkation programs and if they were worth it to you down in the comments below. Now, I am going to share with you another way that you can upgrade your cruise, but before I do, I wanted to share this tip that a lot of people just aren't aware of, and it could be really helpful. So if you are a wheelchair user or if you have any mobility issues, it's really important you can let the cruise line know and they can let the cruise terminal know that you need some wheelchair assistance. Now, what happens if you have wheelchair assistance? You and usually your family or whoever you are traveling with, you are going to have an expedited or a priority boarding. And what this usually means is instead of waiting in those very long lines and heading up those escalators, you will be escorted instead to an elevator, and you'll be part of a group that will be boarding quicker. Now, how can you let the cruise line know? Well, you can call them or you can fill out a form on their website, or even better, if you have a travel agent that you are working with, they can do that for you. Now, by the way, if you're a first-time cruiser or even if you're a seasoned cruiser, you might be making the mistake of trying to go it alone. There are so many different processes when it comes to cruising and even things to do and not do that, let's face it, if you don't know, you don't know. And that's where a travel agent that specializes in cruises can help. Now, by the way, this video is sponsored by MEI Travel. And something that surprises a lot of people is it doesn't actually cost extra to book with MEI Travel versus booking directly with the cruise lines. As a matter of fact, not only is MEI Travel a no-fee travel agency, but they have access to exclusive deals and promotions that you wouldn't get directly from the cruise line. Now, since MEI Travel advisors are compensated directly by the cruise lines and not you, not only does a cruise not cost you more, but they also have other services that they can provide for you, from booking hotels, flights, and insurance, and more. And they can also help you to choose the right ship, itinerary, and package for you. Now, one of my favorite things about booking with MEI Travel is the fact that they have a rate monitoring service. MEI Travel uses a proprietary technology that will continuously track pricing. So if the rates go down before final payment, they'll proactively apply any additional savings at no cost to you. At MEI Travel, they have access to exclusive deals, so advisors often have access to exclusive discounts, promotions, and benefits that are not available when booking direct. This includes special group rates that can save you money. Now, if you're like me and you like doing a little bit of searching for deals on your own, they have a great booking platform. Now, MEI's self-booking engine at meicruise.com lets you research and book and still get the fantastic support from your personal advisor. And this is very beneficial after hours when you want to get some ideas or grab a specific cabin. You can book your cruise directly on their website, and an MEI Travel advisor will contact you the next day to finalize any details. Now, MEI Travel has over 100 travel advisors nationwide, and they can help you out with every aspect of your planning. And by the way, if you want to fill in a quote form and have somebody call you back and discuss your options, that is perfect too. I'm going to leave all of the information for MEI Travel's website linked down below in the description of this video, as well as pinned in the comments. And just something to know is you'll always find the MEI Travel website, the link directly in all the descriptions of my videos. Make sure your luggage tags are secure. Now, don't make the mistake of getting to the cruise embarkation port and forgetting to print out your luggage tags. Now, where can you print out your luggage tags? Typically, you're either going to receive an email from the cruise line with a link that you can print out your luggage tags, or you're going to find them on the website where you do your online check-in. So just take a look for that, and you are going to find that. Now, you're going to want to print out your luggage tags, and then you're going to want to place them onto your luggage. Now, I suggest that what you do is you buy plastic reusable luggage tag holders. You can fold up your luggage tag, place them there so they don't get torn off in the process of boarding or rained on, and this way they will actually get delivered to your cabin. If they do get torn off from your bag, they probably will still make it, but you may have to do a little bit of searching once on board, and that is definitely going to delay your fun on embarkation day. Have small bills with you. Now, you'll want to make sure that you have 5s, 10s, and maybe even some 1s. Have them before you get on board your cruise ship. Now, there are a couple of places that you're going to want to have cash on embarkation day. Now, one of those places is tips, and I'm not even talking about the porters. I'm talking about if you take a shuttle from your hotel over to the cruise terminal, it's pretty customary to give a cash tip to that driver. And by the way, I am talking about in North America, so consider bringing some cash for that. But also when you get to the cruise terminal, it is customary to give a few dollars to the porter as well, who is going to make sure that your bags make it onto the cart and then onto the cruise ship. Get priority boarding. Now, how do you get priority boarding? Well, we talked about before those faster embarkation programs, but the other way that doesn't cost you anything to get priority boarding is if you have a high loyalty status. Now, if you've cruised with the same cruise line for several cruises, then usually one of the perks or the benefits is getting that priority embarkation. Book a ship within a ship experience. Now, some cruise lines have this ship within a ship concept, and one of the benefits of this is actually priority boarding. And honestly, there are so many other benefits, but priority boarding and escorted boarding. Now, if you are on board Norwegian Cruise Line, on many of their cruise ships, they have the Haven, a beautiful exclusive area of the cruise ship. Now, if you're on board MSC, they have MSC Yacht Club, and also you'll have escorted butler boarding. If you're on board Princess, but in particular the Sun class cruise ships, they have the Sanctuary collection, very similar. You're going to get that priority boarding. Now, on Holland America, they don't have that ship within a ship, but they do have Club Orange that you can pay a little bit extra for, but you do get priority boarding as well. And on Celebrity, you have the Retreat. Now, while all of these programs do cost extra, they do come with many benefits in addition to that priority boarding that in some cases may be worth it to you. Don't show up early at all. Now, this tip can sound counterintuitive, but if the idea of being in a crowd of people on embarkation day doesn't appeal to you and you don't have that priority boarding, you may want to consider boarding a little bit later. Now, I'm not talking about very late. You definitely don't want to cut it close because the cruise ship can actually leave without you. Typically, most cruise ships are going to require all of their passengers to be on board between 90 minutes and 2 hours before sail away. So do make sure that you check on this, but choosing a later embarkation time can allow you to board the cruise ship after most people have already boarded and avoid the crowd. Now, I have a lot more tips about how to make your embarkation day absolutely amazing once you get on board the cruise ship and not miss a thing. So I'm going to leave that video right after this one, and I'm going to leave all of the information about MEI Travel and their website linked down below in the description of this video, as well as a pinned comment. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know any of your tips for getting on board your cruise ship faster, and let me know if you've tried any of those priority embarkation programs and if they are worth it to you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.